Are your ancestors important? Are they relevant for the moment, or this moment in your life, for this moment in the world? Is it too traditional to think about our ancestors? I would like to talk about it now. I am Galitta, and I am too passionate about the subject of you finding your happiness, your center, your gravity of power inside yourself so you can go out and shine your light and share with us your unique gift to the world. And I want to talk about ancestor and ancestors healing. So we all think that we are a unique version of ourselves. We are. We are both. We are totally unique and totally not unique. We are totally perfect and we totally not perfect. Those two realities live at the same time. On one aspect of you, you are original blueprint of your soul inside this body. And from other hand, you belong into the big oneness that everything is one. So both realities are true. But back to ancestral healing and our ancestors. What is this? The people who came before, the genetic lines that brought you to be here. And why is it really important? I had lately a discussion with a person who is stuck in their life and need to break through something. Now our whole world is shifting. You can see there is a breakup of what we thought, of structures, of modules, of belief systems that are collapsing, and there is the emergence of the new. If you want to go to the new level, if you want to go to the fifth dimension, if you want to use your time here to ascend, to go up in spirit while you are in physical body, you cannot not connect to your ancestors. So who are your ancestors? Your ancestors are the people who came before. Of course, it's your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-grandparents. So it connects you into a tribe. In this life, it connects you into the people of the land. It connects you to the origin of creation when spirit came into earth and created us. So I would like you to think about ancestors and how they're important in your life by realizing that you are made of all of those parts that have been before. This big oneness, this perfection of field of everything that ever been and that is here is giving you the link to everything. And it's also practically also giving you the link to who you are, to what you can manifest in this world, what's your talents, what's your skills, what are your things that hindering you, what are the programs and beliefs that you can change. It's all, when you go deep enough, goes into your ancestors. So I was talking to a man who was stuck in some things, and I asked him about his ancestors. And he said, I don't have ancestors. I don't like them and I don't feel supported by them. And this thing was cut. And it literally made me tear up. Made me tear up because it's the story of humanity. The story of humanity at this point, in this cracking time, shifting time that we are in, we cannot go further without connecting to where we're from. So in the spiritual community, we are talking about ascension. Some of us working with galactic being, spirit guides. Some people more look at it as angels, galactic angels, subpersonalities, subconscious mind. It's all different language for us to understand the extensions of ourselves. What I found interesting is that the woundedness that we have about our ancestors, and we all have some, or that our people were suppressed and destroyed and we don't want to have anything to do with it because we don't want to be like that, or that our ancestors destroyed other people and we cannot accept that shadow and we don't want to be anything like that. So when people are disconnected to their ancestors, and please check with yourself if you have some of it, because you will find that you do, which is okay. It's just our attention can bring already the shift that we want. So if there is a disconnection with our ancestors, there is disconnection from your true source power. Because like everything else, everything that we deny becomes a shadow, and then we don't function well. We need both sides, as I always talk about. You need your yin and your yang, your masculine and your feminine, your light and your shadow. It's both. And the moment you find something that you are denying or don't want to be connected to or have shame about or guilt about, and you disconnect yourself from your ancestors, you're doing yourself disservice. So how do we connect to our ancestors? First, acknowledging that we are a product. We are, you are standing on the shoulders of others. You have opportunities and things now that were fought for or developed or invented or constructed or paid for your ancestors, the one who came before. Of course, not all ancestors were perfect, but there is some kind of evolution that happens when beings that lived on the earth go back to spirit. So even if you have ancestors that you don't respect the life that they had, I'm talking about the higher level of it, about energy. And every person that I work with have ancestors that cheering them on, that's just wanting to be at service and give you some of the gifts that maybe you didn't know you have, the support that you desperately need. So there are two blockages, or that we don't want to be like our ancestors. We are associated like the last generations, so we don't want to be like them. I'm Jewish, of course, if you know, and sometimes I see by people with Jewish heritage that the wound and the trauma is so big that they don't want to have anything to do with it. So they going away from being Jewish. But you cannot change your ancestry. You cannot change your history. You cannot change your DNA and blood. So if you come into terms with it and go there to bring healing, then you are doing healing that is bigger than you. It's benefiting the whole world. On the other hand, I see, and I would like to talk about in another video about healing the divine masculine, I see also that sometimes our ancestors were brutal to other people. I live in Europe, so it's very much present here. There is this consciousness that we, the people who are from here, the feeling that the harm that they caused to the indigenous people in different continents. There is this consciousness coming out. But consciousness is good, but you have to take the next step, which is to forgive and to create healing on things that have been done. And you're doing that first with connecting. There is nothing that we can do in the world without connecting. So connecting to your ancestors, I would suggest that you first say to yourself in writing or in speaking or in thinking, in intention, that you would like to connect to your ancestors. You can also say to my healthy side of my ancestors. The other thing, what I said also to this man, which is really, really important, sometimes it's good to look deeper into our ancestors. So for a person who feels that their ancestry is not something they're related to because they're looking at the last generation, please remember, so when we're talking about our ancestors, not only individually, but also collectively, our ancestors are actually an African woman in ancient times. It's people of the land in a way that we cannot even perceive what it means. It is so old. It is so old, but full of diamonds, gold, and precious stones. And I think that humanity is coming to a time where we need to connect to the wisdom of the indigenous, to the wisdom of the earth, to the wisdom of our own knowing, to go really deep. And I can tell you that going deep, it's maybe can be messy sometimes and confusing, but it is really like going to find precious stones. There is knowledge in your system, in your subconscious mind. If we're talking in this language, there is knowledge in your Akashic records, which I would say is another way to say our subconscious mind. The Akashic records include all that ever happens. And it is talking to you on a soul level. So connecting to your ancestors is now a really good time. We are now, I'm recording this in October 16 in the year 2020. There is Mercury retrograde, Mars is retrograde. It's very heavy year 2020. It's going to continue for the perceived future to transform. And there is no better time when things are retrograde to go into the feminine, to go into your own inner world, your own inner kingdom, connect to your inner voice, and come to listen to what your ancestors want to share with you. And the first thing what they want to share with you, and I can tell you that the moment you will close your eyes and call for it, you can feel a lot of very solid love that I suspect you need in these days. So if you cannot connect to the last generations, just go back into this ancient Black Mother that is the earth. Africa is a very good place to feel this. I know it's not easy for everyone, but there is no judgment there. There is no judgment there. There is just endless giving. So of course there comes the point of you being able to receive. But first, realize that connecting to your ancestors and finding a way to get over the and let it come into you, connect into you, to inspire you, to give you ideas, to give you love, give you support. That is very important for your own growth, love, and ascension. And it is crucial for us. So when you're doing your little connection, little work of connecting to your own ancestors in any way that you like, there's so many ways, it will benefit all of us in the field. So please, this is what ancestor healing is. So this man that said, I don't have any, I don't like them, nothing means nothing to me. The moment that he acknowledges his own pain about it and can turn himself to face it, it is like returning home to a loving family that you didn't know you had. And I wish this on all of you. And I would like to hear from you. If you are working with your ancestors, how does it feel like? Who do you work with? What do you do to connect? And how do you bring it into your life, into your work, into your creation, into your manifestation? That's what I wanted to share. כן יהי רצון, לפעמי גליטה.